यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. May the Almighty, Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit, Sarvashaktiman, Shri Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, wealth, health and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family members and your friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 23 of 9th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yepyanya Devata Bhaktaha Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tepi Mameva Kaunteya Yajantya Vidhi Purvakam. From verse number 20 and 21, Bhagavan Krishna explained the limitation of entire life of a human being. And especially from the last verse up to verse number 29, I mean 22 to 29, Bhagavan Krishna just specifies the difference between two bhaktis, the bhaktis which are defined according to the motive of them. Because there is Jnani Bhakti, Ajnani Bhakti. Now we are under discussion about Ajnani Bhakti. Ajnani Bhakti means don't feel bad. So where there is lack of knowledge is known as Ajnani Bhakti. And don't get anger, because you should not think that how can Swamiji say that I am Ajnani, because when you say to the people you are an intelligent, they will smile at, that's all, because they know they are lacking of so many intelligence. Therefore they don't take it very seriously. But when you tell you are an idiot, then immediately it will pinch. So when I say these bhaktis are Ajnani Bhakti, many people will or may get hurt. So please don't do that. Here Bhagavan Krishna is talking about the bhakti where the self-knowledge and Aikya knowledge, means Aikya Jnanam, is lacking. Therefore it is known as Ajnana Bhakti. So both Sakama Bhakti and Nishkama Bhakti are considered Ajnani Bhakti alone, because they have the motive. In Sakama Bhakti they have the motive. Motive means the destination to get security and pleasure through the worldly things. In Nishkama Bhakti, he has the motive to get God alone. God is his destination. Here God means finite God, not infinite God. So what is finite God? Any form you take, it's finite God. But if the same form is utilized to get infinite God, then it becomes a valuable entity. Therefore, any form, Rama, Krishna, Vasudeva, any form is finite. God himself says that. God himself says that it's finite. You have to get unlimited. You have to reach unlimited. Now, what is this finite bhakti? Fixing finite goals and fixing finite devata, fixing for finite rituals. Because rituals means finite alone. Any yajna, yaga, puja and anything that is committed in the form of upasana, in the form of puja, they are finite in the nature. That we have to accept, because when you are studying 9th chapter about Gita, you should become senior student, you should become a little bit advanced one than the first chapter reader. You are not in the portion of first Shatkam. The first Shatkam, it has got its own way of concluding the things. But in the first Shatkam itself, I mean in the first 6th chapter itself, Bhagavan gave what is Sakama, Nishkama Bhaktas. Because when he talked about 4 varieties of bhaktas in the last 7th chapter, there he defined. Okay, so only Jnani Bhakti is I love and I like his bhakti. The word from Bhagavan's mouth itself. Now here we have to be with open mind, then we can understand what Bhagavan wants to say. He says, he talks about higher steps. When you are a Sakama Bhakta, you fix the deity, it is finite. Again, when you change the attitude, you become Nishkama Bhakta, still you are sticking with the finite. Now, previously, Sakama Bhakta means one who prays for wealth, health, power, money, system, all these worldly things, perishable things. If you are going to Tirumala and praying for the money, definitely Balaji will give money. But the same Balaji, if you ask for him, he will give himself. The same Balaji, if you ask for his infinite nature, he will bring that infinite nature. That infinite means what? It is beyond all the limitations. Through limited God, we can get unlimited things. That's what Bhagavan is about to say. But the fact remains as the fact. Sakama Bhakta becomes Manda Adhikaris. Nishkama Bhakta becomes what? Madhyama Adhikari. Adhikari means qualifier. So first one is preliminary qualifier. And the second one is secondary, or we can call it intermediary qualifier. Now we all of us are called intermediary qualifiers. Therefore, Bhagavan has the duty to put it in proper way. So he is bringing all the things in the sequence we have to understand. First, Sakama Bhakti. We begin with Sakama Bhakti, nothing wrong it. But remaining in the Sakama Bhakti won't give complete satisfaction, because then you will start blaming the God himself. Because God is waiting there you to elevate yourself. Therefore, he is providing all those things. God doesn't want anything. He needs you to grow. Your growth alone he needs. That's what we have to understand about God's expectations. Though he doesn't have the expectations, but waiting to bless us. That's what God's job. He says, this finite devatas will bring finite bhakti alone. This finite bhakti, Sakama Bhakti also finite, Nishkama Bhakti also finite. So how it is finite? Now I am asking God alone. So previously I asked for money, wealth and health and relationship and all satisfaction. And even I wanted to have more success in my life, but I have given all them up. Now just I am asking you. If I am asking you, how could it be finite bhakti? Are you finite? If go and ask God, are you finite in nature? God will say, what do you want, beta? आज कुछ काम नहीं है क्या? He will ask, don't you have anything to do? Because the way you ask, it shows your ignorance. You need not to ask. Any form is finite. God is waiting to explain you, but there is a way to ask. There is a way to express. There is a way to approach for the higher level. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna is explaining how this Nishkama Bhakta can develop his bhakti. So these are all very strongly, clearly established systems. Therefore, even we were ruled more than thousands of years by invaders. So many things had happened. If you read the history, your blood will boil. Because only one weakness, they utilized that. That only one weakness is what? It's not the weakness at all. That's what the strength even. But we should have been little bit careful enough in the transaction. We think Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. All the human beings are one family. They utilized it. And we never insist, we never compel. For us, the religion is not dogma. Dogma means, you know that, you have to follow, you have to believe, you should not put any question. God has sent the messenger, you should accept it. You don't have any options. You have to, because you are born sin. Oh sinful people, I am here to forgive you. My God, this was not there in our religion. It is never going to be there in our religion. Our religion accepts all the branches of the knowledge. We are open to all. We don't want to put an insist compulsorily in anybody's mind. We welcome all. They utilized in wrong way. They abused our Sanatana Dharma. And the weakness which I wanted to tell is, we were not aware at that time about the glory of our Sanatana Dharma. Still we have to work a lot to understand, but our system is very strong. We divide properly how to establish the first foundation, ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. Like you are just seeing the temple system is a 15th or 50th floor. Only you can see the 50th floor. I think you get what I say. Having Bhagavan's, Thiruman, what we call it, or like this, Tripundra, or one Nama. When you see Govinda, so that you remember Triman. These symbols and the dress, attiring systems, food system, this sacred thread, everything is the 5th floor. There are 49 floors are constructed very strongly to elevate, to sustain these systems. Now we are digging to see the foundation. These are all foundation. There's every rituals, every things which we get it done in the temples. All the temples are constructed according to Agama Vastu Shastra. The human mind, human power, muscles power, money power, or society power, man power cannot destroy it. I tell you, even after thousands of years, our religion will stand, because we are that much strongly established according to the Ishvara's glory. I call it glory. Any temple, it is Vaishnava temple or Saiva temple, Sakta temple or Kaumara temple, Ganapati temple or Saura temple. Every temple has got its own method to construct a physical system and the subtle system like mantras, yantras, tantras, puja method, naivedyas, diparadhanas, and even showing agar bhaktis. Just you need not to utter any mantra, just you take 3 arati round, that's enough. You are connected with the God. Just you have to have the bindi and chant some mantra. That's all finished. Say Govinda, finished. You are connected with the Almighty. Say Namah Shivaya, it's finished. Gods, they don't fight, because all constructions belong to one building called Sanatana Dharma. This building cannot be destroyed by the human power. No other source are available to destroy this power, because this is the main source which is constructed upon Para Prakriti by Apara Prakriti. The source of universe, the source of creation, the source of entire birth, death, circulations. That's what the glory. Now here we have to understand little bit deep about our bhakti. Don't get irritated. Don't become impatient. We have to duty to analyze about our emotions with the spiritual activities. The spiritual activities are they are full of life. What I mean to say, they are a live object. Any tantra means gesture, is alive. Namaskara, it has got its own message. Anga Pradakshina, it has got its own message. Japa, it has got its own glory. All these things together called Sakama Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti. And in advanced, it is known as Bhakti alone, Jnani Bhakti. We want to reach in advanced level. That's what our Sanatana Dharma is. You should know what the construction, what is the cement, what is the bricks, how many rods, how many things have been constructed by us. We have to learn it. That's what our duty is. Therefore, here Bhagavan, what he says, we have to understand without any prejudice in our mind, with open mind. He says, the finite gods, the gods which are having forms, it is finite in nature. Because the difference only in the level of Apara Prakriti, there is no difference in the Para Prakriti. Every god has got Para Prakriti, that Para Prakriti one and the same. So we have to accept it. If a person is not having knowledge, he is catch holding only one form, doesn't matter. But if he converts his attitude with that one form, he is able to convert Sakama to Nishkama, he is elevated. He wants to have God himself. Then God will provide knowledge. Then he will be able to identify the God who is with the form, the God who is not with the form. The form God will be converted into formless God. So when you are able to get identification between those two, then that formless God also found in you. You are able to become identical with that. That's what the message of Tattvamasi. That's what our motto is. Now this Sakama Karma has got the motive. Nishkama Karma has got the motive. Sakama Karma is motive, is worldly object. Nishkama Karma is God alone the object. That's what he is clarifying. The devotees who are only going for the limited things, they will also get. Whether they follow rules or not, they will get. Therefore, nowhere you should make a comment to criticize any puja. You know, there are deities on the street with a horse, with a sword. We call it Grama Devatas. So these Grama Devatas also worshipped by the people without any mantra, without any tantra. Don't disrespect it. Just respect it, because God even blesses through those forms. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya chitum ichhati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadham yaham. I bless whatever the form you wish to use for your worship. That's what the confirmation from the God we saw in the past verses. Okay, now the next words he continues. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mama bhijananti tatvena tascha bantite. He just stopped exploring the secret so that the bhakta can develop his personality, his motive. That's what he says. Aham sarva yajnanam bhokta prabhu. The same content. What he said in the previous words. Aham kraturaham yajnaha. So the same thing is again bringing the shloka number, what he said in the 16th verse. Aham kraturaham yajnaha Swadhahamaham aushadham mantro ahamahame ahamagniraham hutam. What he said was there, the same thing again he brings, but in different angle. Now he says, Aham sarvayajnanam bhokta. Aham sarvayajnanam bhokta means I am the enjoyer of all the yajnas, because yajnas means sacrificing the things. Whatever is being sacrificed, it has to be received by particular devata. That particular devatas can be your Ishta devata, Kula devata or Para devata. So your Ishta devata is Adi Parashakti. Okay, you can offer through Chandi Homa. If your Ishta devata is Lord Ganesha, you can do or perform Ganapati Homa. If you are having Sadashiva as your Ishta devata, you can do Mrityunjaya Homa. Or if your devata is Mahavishnu, you can perform Purusha Sukta Homa. So whatever the things are sacrificed, I am equally bhokta in all those deities. All these finite forms has got bhoktas. All of them are nothing but me. Now you see, he has equalized there. This secret to be realized. Therefore, this homa is better than that homa is better than this homa. It's not like that. That's human culprit, not God. So God concept is established without any distinction in that Aham sarva yajnanam bhokta. I am the enjoyer of all the materials which are offered in yajna with yajna bhavana. Aham prabhurevacha. I am the ruler of all this yajna karya. Means what? When there is an yajna, so all equipments are done. I digest the food usually once the yajna is performed. I saw in one town, there was a Kumbhabhisheka, even I was invited. I went there as a chief guest, and Kumbhabhisheka was very nicely performed. The previous day, we have all kinds of kalashas in the Yagashala. So all the kalashas are sacrificed, means they are brought the powers into them through mantras. Then they perform fire rituals and all. After Kumbhabhisheka done, all people they ran to Yagashala. They they dig this yajna kunda. Then they took all the bhasmas and they kept it. You should not do it. We don't have rights. At least we have to wait for a week so that all the materials which are offered could burn, means it could digest. Because Agni as courier devata, it should digest first, it should burn first, then it could take towards those particular specific deities. Till that time you should not touch it. It's as equal, when you put your finger after having dinner or lunch into your stomach and you are doing like this. Could you understand what I want to make you understand? Don't do. I am not saying that you people are doing. If people are doing, please stop them. That should not be done. Because any temple karya, it's known as common. Everybody have got their own rights. But those rights should not cause for this kind of abusing the things. So after yajna shala, after performing the yajna, that yajna kunda should be kept at least for a period of or length of time so that everything get digested. That's what I wanted to put in the form of request. So because we are the people who are responsible to take care of our rituals, and we are the people who should understand about those rituals. We are the people who should convey to others, not even others means our own family members, to be informed properly. That's what our intention is. Now he says, Aham bhokta, aham prabhuhu. Then, natu mam abhijananti tattvena ataschavantite. The people are not realizing me as I am means so tattvena. So my reality to be realized with lots of efforts, with the help of Guru and Shastra, which people are lacking of it. Therefore, all the confusion is taking place with regarding this pujas, rituals, etc. The next shloka. Yanti devavrata devan pitrunyanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhutejyaha yanti madhyajinopi mam. All of them are provided benefit. The fruits are fructified according to their karma, that is the law of karma. He says, Devavrataha Devan Yanti. Whatever the deity you fix, you will get blessed by that deity, no doubt in it. If you take Lord Ganesha, he is Vighneshwaraha, Vinayakaha, and who is also Vignakarta, Vignanetra, Vignaharta, who removes all kinds of obstructions in the world. If you perform puja towards him, definitely you will be blessed by him. Devatas, Devan Yanti means you get blessings of those particular deities. And this Pitruvartaha Yanti Pitrun. Pitruvartaha means so the deities which are existing in Pitru Lokas, worshipping our forefathers as the deity and having Shraddha towards them, definitely they will be blessed by them. And Bhutejyaha, so whoever they worship the natures, fire is worshipped, air is worshipped, and water is worshipped, and space is worshipped, they will get. In South India we have 5 temples, so which symbolizes for 5 elemental worship, 5 lingas. So Akasha Linga, Up Linga, Dev Linga, and the Linga for Vayu, and Agni Linga. So all these lingas are there, known as worship, that which symbolizes the 5 elemental forces in the form of Ishvara. These words we will continue in the next episode tomorrow. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.